Snuff the beetles! Snuff them! Go, go, go!
Theon Greyjoy is at the docks at Lordsport, admiring his new longship. He is approached by a striking Ironborn woman calling herself Esgrid. Theon is taken by her immediately and begins to flirt. Although she responds to Theon's flirtations, Esgrid informs him that she is married and pregnant. Theon is not bothered by this, telling her that he cannot father a bastard on her if she is pregnant, and attempting to sway her by informing her he is a prince. When he asks whether he should name his ship after her, Esgrid tells him that he should. She informs him that he is the daughter of Ambrode and the wife of Sigrin, the shipwright. When Theon claims she is wasted on Sigrin, she in turn claims that according to him, the ship is wasted on Theon. She asks what Theon thinks of his new ship, but when Theon calls the ship a fair maiden, Esgrid states that she is a sea bitch. Theon declares Sea Bitch to be the name of his new ship, which will be blessed by his uncle Aeron, a priest of the drowned god, the very next day. They flirt some more, but Esgrid continues to refuse to sleep with him. She does accept Theon's invitation to a feast held by Lord Balon Greyjoy at Pyke that evening. Together they walk through Lordsport, crowded with the men of the newly arrived Lord Gorald Goodbrother of Great Wick, to the inn, to find Theon's horse and squire. Theon is glad to notice that the people grow quiet as they pass and acknowledge them with bows, considering it a sign of respect to him. On their way to the inn, Esgrid inquires whether Theon has already assembled a crew. When Esgrid calls out to several men she is familiar with, Theon comes to realise that he has been away from Pyke for such a long time, and that any friends he once had are now strangers. He tells Esgrid that his uncle Victarion has loaned him his steersman, Rymulf Stormdrunk. As they pass the Moiraham, which has not been yet allowed to leave by Lord Balon, the captain's daughter on board calls out to Theon, who admits to Esgrid that he has slept with her. At the inn, Theon finds his squire, Wex Pyke, whom he orders to saddle his warhorse Smiler, which he had purchased from Lord Sylwain Botley. Esgrid is impressed by Theon's horse, and rides double with Theon to Pyke, sitting in front of him. During the ride, he frequently attempts to fondle her breasts, but she removes his hands each time. When she asks if Lord Balon will welcome her, Theon tells her that he himself has hardly been welcomed. Esgrid questions Theon's status as heir, as he has brothers, uncles, and his sister. He tells her that his brothers are dead, and that he'll find a husband for his sister Asha. His uncles, however, are a sore subject. Although his own claim is stronger, it is not unheard of on the Iron Islands for an uncle to dispose of a weak nephew. Theon claims Aeron only cares for the drowned god, Victarion is tireless and dutiful, and Euron is most likely dead, having been gone for the island for 2 years. Esgrid admits that Euron may be dead, and that if he is alive, he would be half a stranger, which would make it unlikely that the Ironborn would seat him on the sea stone chair. Theon is bothered by the thought, as his absence of 10 years has made him more of a stranger than Euron. Regardless, he is determined to prove himself worthy. During the remainder of the journey they speak of the feast, Theon's mother who resides at Harlaw, and Esgrid's pregnancy. She eventually asks about Robb Stark and his war against the Lannisters, and Theon tells her about the battles they have fought. As they arrive at Pyke, however, Theon discovers, to his horror, that Esgrid is actually Asha, when the stable boy addresses her by her name. Asha reveals she arrived with Lord Goodbrother the night before and had stayed a night at the inn. As Theon gapes at her, she tells him that she kept silent about her identity because she wanted to see who he was first. Asha leaves, and Theon takes his anger out on Wex, who is smirking at him. Theon retreats to his chambers angry, thinking how Asha made a fool of him, and how he has no place at Pyke because of her. When he hears the distant music, he dresses for Balon's feast, deciding to wear only plain clothes while cursing the fact that he has no ornaments bought with iron. At the hall, Lord Balon is feasting near 400 lords and captains. All the houses of the Iron Islands are present, except for House Stonehouse and House Drum, who have yet to arrive. At the dais, Balon comments that Theon is late. Theon sits down next to Asha, who is sitting at Balon's right, in a place of high honour. When Theon hisses to her that she is in his seat, she replies that his place is at Winterfell, and asks where his pretty clothes are. When Theon asks if every word she told him was a lie, she says not. Calling out to one of the dancers, Rolf, Asha catches a flying axe and splits Theon's trencher with it, telling him the axe is her husband. She then pulls a dirk from between her breasts and tells him that it is her suckling babe. Theon realises the entire hall is laughing at him, and as Asha sits back down, she tells him he should learn about the Isles and the people on them, asking him why they should die for Theon if he does not know them. Theon insists that he is their prince, but Asha counters that the Ironborn do not follow the law of the Green Lands, but rather make their own. Finally, Lord Balon rises, telling them to join him in his solar when they are finished. After arguing with Asha, Theon leaves and crosses the rope bridge to the sea tower, where he finds his father and two uncles, Victarion and Aeron, in the damp, drafty solar. On seeing him, Balon tells him it is time he heard his plans, refusing to hear any of Theon's suggestions. He tells Theon he will command 8 ships to the harrying of the stony shore, accompanied by Aeron and Dagmar. Theon feels slapped, feeling the work is beneath him, and the inclusion of Aeron and Dagmar indicates that Balon does not trust him. As Asha slips in, Balon tells them that she will take 30 ships, with picked men, to take Deepwood Moat. Victarion is to make the main thrust at Moat Cailin, sailing up the Salt Spear and the Fever River. Once they hold Moat Cailin, Robb Stark will not be able to return north. Theon tries to tell Balon that the Lords hold the castles, but again Balon shuts him up, saying the Lords have gone south with Robb. Winterfell may hold out for a year, but the rest shall be theirs. Theon leaves the solar, but on the rope bridge, a sudden gust of wind causes him to stumble to his knees. Asha is suddenly there and helps him back up, guiding him across the rest of the bridge. She comments he cannot hold his wine either. Theon tells her he liked her better as Esgrid, and she tells him she liked him better when he was 9.